And it said we live in a post-Christian age. I think we're even moving beyond post-Christian, because at this point, there is almost, among many young people especially, almost zero awareness of the Christian story, let alone any biblical knowledge. So you really are starting from scratch with in a lot of cases. I think that's both a challenge and an opportunity, because in some ways, one of the things I've noticed in a slightly older generation is that they think they do know the Christian story, and possibly Ayan thought she knew the Christian story, but actually they've been essentially sold a kind of a version of it that isn't actually what it is, and so they've kind of been inoculated against it. They've been given enough of it in a sort of cultural, nominal way to think they know what it is, and they've rejected it. But actually, I think we're now at an opportunity, in a sense, with the fact that we really don't have any purchase in our culture among many people, for there not to be any baggage either. They're not, people aren't necessarily haven't necessarily been turned off church because they've never been into church in the first place. So I think in that sense, there is an opportunity there to sort of start again and say, okay, what do we do? What I think we are seeing with a number of these thinkers is people are recognizing, well, what we've got isn't working. And so we need something else. We need a better story to make sense of the world. And that's why I think the Christian story is still there and ready to kind of bubble up again. I was very struck during the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, and when her body was lying in state, and you had these mourners, stretching for miles down the Thames coming to pay respects. Even in our very post-Christian culture, it was interesting to see the way that spirituality sort of bubbled up for people. They wanted to do something to mark this as a meaningful moment. And as you saw the people stop, as they did opposite the coffin, and pay their respects, very often it was some kind of a crossing or hands together. There's a sense in which we want things to be meaningful. We there's something deep in us where we're looking for something. And I think the Christian story is still there, ready to give people the means to make sense of the story they're living in. I think we're actually potentially seeing more openness, actually, especially among Gen Z, the youngest generation.
I think that's right. I think there's anecdotal evidence.
Yeah.
I think there's even some real, researched evidence now to suggest that the drift away has stopped and may even be slowly reversing. And those people, of course, those younger people are deeply conscious that things are a mess and they've not been given a rational framework or lens through which they can understand the world. They get that, I think.
Absolutely. And now, I'm not saying that Christianity will be the obvious thing that sweeps in. There's lots of other options on the table. I mean, you go on TikTok and things like witch talk are popular. There's all these kinds of new age and sort of esoteric beliefs. But the point is, people are not kind of going off in this scientific atheistic direction. They're very open to spirituality. And the question is, can Christians tell their story compellingly in our culture and show that actually all these other stories, be they the sort of political ideologies or the activist ideologies or the new age spiritualities, they're not enough. They don't actually get to the heart of who we are. And my suspicion is actually this is an amazing moment for the church if it can get its act together. And it's kind of, the door's been opened by some of these secular intellectuals. They've shown that actually there's a lot of people who are just waiting to be told a better story. And I just wish that sometimes we would do a bit of a better job at actually taking a lead from those people who I mean, what pastor wouldn't love to have 2,000 young men turn up at their church for a 3-hour lecture on the Bible? Yet Jordan Peterson seems to manage it. What's going on? Why? What's happening there? And I'm not saying that he holds all the answers, but at the same time, we need to be willing to listen and learn why that. What is the itch that he's scratching?